That whole "nobody wants to work" thing died off pretty quickly, huh? I'm just sitting here enjoying my lunch when I remembered hearing that stupid line, which I haven't heard for a year at least by now. They've moved on to complaining about how workers expect living wages and adequate work conditions. I'm working by myself one evening at the gas station and the customer line was wrapped around the store. I'm ringing out people as fast as I can and one old retired man starts bitching about how we need more employees and nobody wants to work anymore. I yelled, "Go ahead and jump on that empty register. I could use the help. It's $13.50 an hour." He said, "No, that's okay." I said, "Guess you don't want to work anymore either." It's still getting yelled here. At least till I point out how the few places here that pay a more realistic wage don't seem to be having any staffing issues. I hear the dang phrase at least once a week. I really love, "We need higher unemployment to keep the poors in their place," brazenly mask off and inviting revolt. Every time I hear it I offer to work for them but they have to beat what I make already. And no, $12 per hour isn't going to do it. I had a coworker just a week or two ago say, "And now that they finally cut off the bonuses to stay at home and be lazy, maybe people will start getting jobs again." About 2 years too late on that one. You unfrosted Pop-Tart. I still hear it all the time, from people who want to pay minimum wage. They have to cycle through their lies to keep the ignorant masses from catching on. It is amazing what most people will forget in a couple years. They just don't want to work for starvation wages just to make someone else filthy rich. My boss recently said it. I told her people are sick of being exploited. I don't think I'll last long here. People want to work. We also want to live, not just survive. No, it's still around but it's being countered by said lazy people, shoving their pay stubs in those people's faces and them being like, "Okay, fair. I wouldn't want to work that job either with what you get paid." I just heard it a month ago from a family member, followed by, "They're all living off those checks from the government." I was on vacation and didn't want to engage. I still hear and see this all the time, unfortunately. They've been saying it for literal decades. It just fades in and out. Reminds me of the old "money doesn't buy happiness" trope. Of course it does. You can't survive without it in this day and age. I don't want to work. Tangential. But when I was working food service, my GM made a whole $5.90 an hour more than me after working her way up from fry cook. Over the course of 30 years, I made, as a GM, 85 cents more than new hires off the street after 5 years. The DM, after 45 years, was salaried and made $10,000 more annually than my GM, but also had to travel across 3 different states every week, putting in 90-plus hour weeks, and was effectively making below minimum wage. This was 10 years ago. Salary requirements were much less stringent, and they didn't count his travel time. Some jackass from corporate came down one time, saw a crew member who was on break half-assed wipe off the break room table, but not sweep up the floor, and said, "I guess it's true that the younger generation doesn't want to work like we did." Didn't even bother to finish cleaning up. Quote, to my GM, who replied, "Well, I could have him sweep up now, but then I would have to restart his break, and that would mean an extra half hour of payroll that you haven't authorized." He shut up and left shortly after that, presumably to go pretend to know what he was talking about at one of the other locations. Kinda meaningless to say, no one wants to work, when there's very low levels of unemployment.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.